Welcome to week 5 in property investment and finance. In this week, we complete the discounted cash flow model by not putting much more in the actual model itself, but by beginning to explore what happens when we try to do battle with the reality that most of the numbers in our DCF are forecasts, and therefore they are uncertain, they are risky, and they introduce a certain vagueness into our model. And so despite the mathematical elegance of the DCF and its apparent awesome power with lots and lots of equations all jiggling around together and whatnot, the quality of the forecasts for the data that are put into it become absolutely pivotal in the model's real success, to the extent that if your forecasts aren't very good, there is a very good chance that your model won't tell you anything useful. And even worse than that, because it appears to have all of the impressive persuasiveness of a computer output, computer model, you may be inclined to make decisions on something which doesn't have any real mathematic robustness. And so starting to give some thought to risk and uncertainty in property investment evaluation is an extremely important area. By this point, you should be starting to think pretty seriously about a property for your assignment. Also, it's important, we're up to week 5 now, so we are in the serious part of the unit. You're on board now till the end. There's last week was census week, and so we can't change our enrolments. This means that you have to perform. Crikey. Very important that by now you're well on your way to mastering the mathematical modelling involved in the unit. This means being comfortable with Excel, hopefully being up to date with building the DCF model, and practicing with your financial calculators. Remember, financial calculator is not absolutely necessary for this unit, but it will most probably give you more reliable results. It will save you an awful lot of time, especially in the exam, and that extra time will give you more time for thinking about things like how to use your calculator correctly or what equations to put in and that sort of thing. And so the choice, whether you use a scientific calculator in the final exam or a financial calculator, is ultimately and totally up to you. In some ways, using a general financial calculator has the advantage that will force you, as long as you do the practice during the term, it will force you to have a stronger understanding of the mathematics. So basically, you can't rely on the calculator to be half your brain. But the financial calculator, if you're going into vocational practice as a financial advisor, property consultant, whatever, really being on top of that is really useful, and having your financial calculator is very, very important. We're shortly going to be moving out of the mathematical side of the unit, so it's important that you don't leave it behind. There's also the assignment coming up, so if you're behind with the maths now, you may find it difficult completing the assignment, at least in any reasonable quality. And so make sure that you put any time in now that you've lost. Don't leave it any longer. I hope you enjoy the ideas of risk and uncertainty. They really carry on from business finance and things like the capital asset pricing model and so on, but in a more practical way. And in many ways, this unit is probably at least as important as the DCF modelling itself, because there's no point in having a wonderful, impressive bucket of numbers sitting there churning around in your Excel DCF model if you don't know the significance of the errors that might be going into it, and therefore the errors are going to be coming out of it. So understanding this whole area of risk and uncertainty when you tip your toe into the question of financial modelling, vitally important.